Welcome to the Music Reel. I'm your host, Nicola Burton. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Dr Sian Mitchell, who is a festival director for the Melbourne Women in Film Festival. Welcome to the Music Reel, Sian. How are you going?
Oh, I'm okay. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm
Doing
so
all right.
curious to hear about what you're doing because you are not only in your first lockdown, you're in your second lockdown.
Yeah, Melbourne, yes. Yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, you guys snuck in the Women in Film Festival in late February.
Mm.
I'm curious to hear how, with the virus circling around you guys, let's start with that story. Did that impact on how that festival went at all?
It was interesting. I don't think that, it was so early kind of in terms of what we were hearing about the virus at the time, because we were also coming off the back of the bushfire crisis as well. So it was kind of this strange sort of liminal space between one crisis and the next one, I think. And so we were probably thinking more about the bushfires at the time. And as a festival, we were kind of talking about what we could do around that in some sort of helpful capacity. But so sort of on the tail end of that. But yeah, we were really lucky, I suppose, to be able to have our whole festival online. Not online, what am I saying? Have our whole festival in person, a physical event. But I felt like that there was a sort of impact around coming out of, as I said, the bushfire crisis and kind of going into this COVID moment. So we were sort of trying to navigate, I suppose, around all of those things. But it still worked. People still came out. We did have a festival day where there was a massive Extinction Rebellion protest in the city at the same time. So we also had to kind of deal with that as well with our venues and
All part of it.
Yeah, and and our audience is kind of split, I suppose, in terms of that, because we have a really socially aware audience, of course, being a women's film festival. So yeah, there was a few impacts on us, but it certainly wasn't anything like what some festivals have had to deal with the first round of lockdowns and
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, we were pretty lucky, I think.
So in terms of next year's festival, you've got that scheduled for next February, and you've alluded that, perhaps it might go online because a lot of festivals are. Maybe talk us through what that looks like in terms of, I guess, preparing now, planning in this time where there's so much uncertainty. How do you plan for a festival when you don't know what's happening in 2 weeks?
Oh, that's the thing. Part of it, I suppose, is just accepting that maybe we can't really plan so much, or we have to have many plans, because who knows what February is even going to be like. Whether there's, another outbreak that happens early next year or something, God forbid, touch wood, that's not going to happen. But it's really, really difficult, I think. So, what we've been doing is, particularly because we are in Melbourne, stage 4 is still on for at least another couple of weeks here. So, so we're thinking that, maybe we need to have more than what we probably wanted to have online next year. So we initially thought it would be really great to have some sort of hybrid festival, because what we're learning from all these online festivals that are happening at the moment is that there are some real positives coming out of it as well in terms of reach. And so part of our remit as a festival is to try to bring in women from all over to have to experience, career development discussions or just the films themselves. And so that kind of reach has been really interesting, what we're hearing with other festivals. So I don't know if you saw this, but MIF was on recently, and there was a news report out a few days ago saying that they'd almost doubled their physical audience online. So
it's almost like
get out. Yeah.
It's an opportunity, isn't it? I was speaking to the lady that organised the Gold Coast Music Awards in, when was that? They did it in April. And she said instead of like normally about 500 people, they had 25,000 people because it was online. Yeah. So we've adapted, working with Zoom, as you and I are now. Mm-hmm. Imagine what you could create connecting with people around the world. I mean, it's great to have that live festival, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, look, that's the ideal, but
how much fun that would be to bring in all these, like, it's actually really exciting, don't you think?
Yeah, yes. It does feel a little bit stressful at the same time, to be honest. I know. But yeah, looking at how we might be able to reach regional Victorian women, for example, and put our workshops online to get them connected with industry people, because that's the other thing I suppose about film festivals is they're normally located in these urban spaces in cities, and so regional Victorians or regional spaces don't really get to experience it in the same way unless there's a touring program or something like that. So that's a really exciting thing for us, is to be able to kind of look to where we could go for engaging.
I think it's great. And also, you're a lecturer, aren't you? You lecture at the Deakin University, right?
Yep.
So you're dealing with, now just get it right, so you're doing screen and design. So you would have had to go online for the last few months?
Yes. We went online. Oh God, I think I had about 2 or 3 weeks of teaching classes in person in a classroom space before everything had to get shifted. In about a week, we had sort of a week's leeway to sort of shift as much as we could online. And I was teaching a sound design unit at that time, so we were supposed to be going into studios and playing with Foley and stuff like that, and learning how to use studio equipment. But instead we had to kind of, re-wrangle it a little bit to figure out how to do that online. And we did it. But I certainly, felt for my colleagues who had to teach more sort of practical, camera work and things like that in an online space, and how they've done it. I'm in awe of them. They're amazing. So
I think everyone in these industries I'm in awe of, because, think about it. We don't have a traditional job, right, in the arts industry. And we're so creative. Like the shit will hit the fan and we'll just find a way to go over here. We'll just find a different way. And to watch everyone go online has been so inspiring. And to sort of find different ways of kids interacting online, I think it's definitely, our future. So I'm really curious to hear how your students have adapted, because think about it. You're dealing with storytellers, right? This is all about, I've got to tell the story. What a story to tell about 2020. We haven't even finished yet. So
I know.
What in terms of, what stories or what productions might come out of this experience for not just your students, but I guess any creative person in your industry?
I think in terms of students, there's parts of this that I think really, the learning out of this in terms of how to problem solve, because half the time filmmaking or creative industries is how do we problem solve something perhaps really quickly, and how do we adapt and be flexible, and I think this moment is really teaching them that. And also how to kind of perhaps work within particular sorts of parameters and particular briefs that they need to be sort of thinking about. So I think there's opportunity for real creativity out of having such restrictions. But at the same time, we have third-year students who were really looking forward to and excited about making their final year film, and they had these sort of visions for it, and that's had to be obviously adapted and changed to sort of fit the environment that we're in now as well, and not having the equipment that they want to get their hands on and stuff like that. But I think that from what I've seen and what I've been hearing, they're taking it on the chin, and they are adapting, and they're taking it really well, and just trying to manage. What can you do?
You just make the best of it, right? And that's like you said, that it's a problem solving other side of being a creative. So I guess in terms of possible visions for roadmaps to recovery, what do you think that the part of the storyteller, what part do they play in our recovery, given that you just said they're incredible problem solvers? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that with storytellers, when we come out of this, I think that the work that will come out of this moment that these storytellers and all sorts of creatives have been inspired by will kind of help, I think, maybe give a moment of sort of catharsis through looking back, reflecting. This is where the arts, I think, is so incredibly important, and particularly in crises like this, is because it's a way of people kind of working through what's happened, I think. And not that I want to go down perhaps the road of therapy or anything like that, but it's through arts and through writing music, writing films, it's all about kind of working through those sorts of emotions and ways that people have kind of dealt with being locked down for so long and going through a pandemic and all the devastation that's kind of happened through that. So I think it's going to come out that these works will be, I think, processes of working through a catharsis of reflecting and then moving on, hopefully.
And that's going to be so important for everyone else, because they'll see themselves in that story, or, you know, whatever the artistic depiction is, and go,
Yeah.
oh, it wasn't just me. I'm not alone. Oh, I totally relate to that. And I think that's going to really take a few steps to help people to heal through this. I think you're absolutely right. So I guess most importantly, how are you going down? I mean, this is your second lockdown. Feeling about all of this, and has it impacted, you know, your ability just to sort of crack on with all the projects that you're doing, or are there the moments where you're just like, God, what on earth is going on?
I mean, I'm okay personally. I'm smiling, I'm laughing, I'm okay. Where, you know, we've been able to adapt as well. You know, the team on the festival and I are, you know, we're still able to meet. We're still able to, you know, talk about what we want to do, and there are ways with this wonderful technology that we can do what we do, and same with teaching and stuff as well. So, however, oh gosh, I miss going to the movies. You know? So, I mean, online festivals have been great, and I've been able to, you know, have the luxury of watching festival films in my pajamas on the couch, which is totally different to normal. But gosh, it would be, I'm really, really looking forward to going to the cinema again, that's for sure.
There's something about, even if it's just you in the cinema, just to be in that big place, and it feels like something great is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally relate to that. Look, we're in Brisbane. We don't have the level of restrictions you guys have. We are thinking about you, and I've got everything crossed, so then in the next couple of
they're going down, the numbers are going down.
Go to the next stage. Look, I'm excited about this festival in February. If it does happen online, that means that, you know, people like me in Queensland can actually participate. It otherwise I would have missed out on it. So, you know, that's a big tick. That's a big positive.
Yeah. I hope that people aren't too kind of online fatigued, because that's the other risk, I think, with this is by February perhaps people might be so raring to go out that
yes,
don't want to go online. So we're in a bit of a interesting sort of time period for the festival to go on to see what's going to happen. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see what happens. It'll be probably a smaller thing, but you know, that's okay.
It'll be amazing. Look, I'm so looking forward to it. And I've loved talking to you today. It's been great to hear about what you're doing and to hear your perspective of, you know, that side of the industry, which we don't necessarily hear about all the time. So thank you for that. And take care of yourself in your second lockdown.
Yeah, you take care too.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Next time. Bye.
Bye.